The story of Rome is a captivating tale of ambition, conquest, and decline. It begins in the Italian peninsula, where villages formed Rome. Romans expanded through military prowess and strategic alliances. Roman legions marched across Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East. The empire was a melting pot of cultures, bound by Roman law. Engineers built roads, aqueducts, and public buildings. But as Rome reached its zenith, cracks appeared in its facade. At the heart of Rome's ascendancy lay its formidable military machine. The Roman legions were more than just a fighting force. They were a symbol of Rome's power, discipline, and unwavering determination. Roman military success stemmed not only from brute force, but also from strategic brilliance and adaptability. Yet, Rome's power rested not only on the strength of its legions, but also on the ingenuity of its engineers. The Roman road system, stretching over 250,000 miles, facilitated trade and communication, and allowed for the rapid deployment of legions. Aqueducts supplied Rome's burgeoning cities with fresh water, enabling their growth and supporting a thriving urban population. The Roman Empire, at its peak, seemed invincible, a beacon of order and prosperity in a turbulent world. Yet beneath the surface of this golden age, seeds of decline were already being sown. Rome's relentless expansion gradually stretched its resources thin and created new challenges for its rulers. Governing a vast and diverse empire proved to be an increasingly daunting task. As the empire grew, so too did its administrative and military expenses. The rise of a wealthy elite, more interested in luxury and indulgence than in serving the state, further eroded the foundations of Roman society. These cracks in Rome's foundation would widen over time, setting the stage for the empire's eventual collapse. Rome's insatiable appetite for conquest gradually morphed into a double-edged sword. Each newly conquered territory brought new challenges, stretching the empire's resources and administrative capacity to their limits. The vast distances involved in managing an empire that spanned 3 continents posed a formidable obstacle. Maintaining order and security across such a sprawling realm required a massive and ever-growing army. The empire's vast size made it increasingly difficult to maintain a unified Roman identity and culture. The empire, once a symbol of unity and strength, was slowly but surely becoming a patchwork of disparate cultures. As Rome's territory expanded, its system of governance began to show signs of strain. Communication breakdowns became increasingly common, as messages from Rome took weeks, if not months, to reach their intended recipients. The vast distances also made it difficult for emperors to maintain control over their appointed governors and officials. With limited oversight from Rome, corruption and abuse of power became endemic. The Roman legal system struggled to keep pace with the empire's expansion and the increasing diversity of its population. This inconsistency bred resentment and fueled perceptions of injustice, further undermining Rome's authority. Rome's imperial ambitions eventually created an unsustainable financial burden. The costs of maintaining a vast army and expanding infrastructure placed an immense strain on the Roman treasury. The constant need to defend and expand the empire's borders meant that a significant portion of Rome's budget was devoted to military expenditures. The expansion of Roman infrastructure also proved to be a costly endeavor. To finance its ever-growing expenses, Rome resorted to increasingly burdensome taxation. This stifled economic growth and led to widespread resentment, particularly among the lower classes. Imagine a world where the money you hold in your hand steadily loses its value. This was the harsh reality that gripped the Roman Empire. Emperors reduced the silver content in their coins. As the silver content dwindled, so did their purchasing power. Prices soared and the Roman economy spiraled into inflation. The bustling marketplaces of Rome began to resemble ghost towns. Traders, wary of accepting increasingly worthless coins, hoarded their goods or demanded payment in kind. The famous Roman grain dole became increasingly difficult to maintain. With the empire's coffers depleted, even this essential service was threatened. The grand public works projects fell into disrepair. Roads crumbled, hindering trade and slowing communication. The Roman people began to question the competence of their leaders, eroding the very foundations of Roman power. The mighty Roman legions, once the empire's backbone, faced economic turmoil. Soldiers found their wages worthless, their loyalty wavering. Emperors struggled to pay troops, leading to mutiny. Desperate measures like land grants and plunder promises ensued. Discipline eroded, and the once unified army fractured. The Roman army, once a symbol of discipline and pride, faced a crisis. Economic woes dwindled the citizen soldiers, the backbone of the legions. The allure of military service faded faster than a worn-down denarius. The treasury struggled, and promises of pay and land rang hollow. Emperors turned to recruiting foreign mercenaries. Goths, Vandals, and Huns fought for gold, not Rome. These warriors brought a new, aggressive style of warfare. The shift to mercenaries changed the Roman army's character. Soldiers fought for personal gain, not the glory of the empire. Section 2. The Barbarians at the Gate. A gathering storm. On the outskirts of the empire, a new threat was emerging, testing Rome's weakened defenses. Tribes from beyond the Rhine and Danube rivers began to press against the empire's borders. These barbarians were organized groups, often led by skilled warriors and kings. They sought new lands, trade opportunities, or a share of Roman wealth. The Goths, fleeing the Huns, sought refuge within Roman territory. The Vandals raided coastal cities, their ships a constant threat. The Huns, masters of mounted warfare, swept out of the steppes. Rome's armies, stretched thin, struggled to contain the growing pressure. Section 3. The Sack of Rome, a city shrouded in smoke and ashes. For centuries, Rome seemed invincible. Yet in 410 AD, the unthinkable happened. Rome was sacked. The Visigoths, led by Alaric, breached the gates, driven by desperation and broken promises. For 3 days, Rome burned, its streets filled with debris, its people in despair. The sack of Rome shattered the belief in its invincibility, signaling the empire's vulnerability. Section 1. The Purple Plague. Power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. The Roman Empire, once a model of virtue, succumbed to corruption from the heart of power. Emperors, meant to safeguard the realm, hastened its decline with paranoia and greed. The color purple, symbolizing royalty, became a chilling symbol of decay. Emperors lived in unimaginable extravagance, their palaces filled with opulent feasts. The contrast between the elite's lavish lifestyles and ordinary citizens' struggles fueled resentment. A Game of Thrones, emperors made and unmade. The Roman Empire, once stable, was now trapped in a deadly cycle of violence and instability. Emperors rose and fell swiftly, their reigns often ending in blood. The Senate, meant to unify, now tore the empire apart. Short-lived emperors ruled for months, sometimes days. Policies abandoned, promises unfulfilled. Generals seized power, marching on Rome frequently. The Praetorian Guard dictated succession. Loyalty was bought and sold. Provinces faced external threats and internal unrest. The empire fractured into competing factions. The empire divided, a house in discord. The Roman Empire, too vast and burdened, faced a seismic shift. A unified Rome was becoming a distant memory. Emperor Diocletian saw the need for drastic change. In 286 AD, he divided the empire into West and East. This division marked a turning point in Roman history. The East preserved Roman traditions, law, and culture. The Last Emperor, a boy on the ruins of an empire. The year is 476 AD. Rome, once mighty, now echoes with whispers of its past. The empire, weakened by strife, faces its final act. The last emperor, Romulus Augustulus, is a teenage boy. Clad in imperial purple, a golden crown on his head, surrounded by remnants of splendor, he faces uncertainty. In his eyes, fear and uncertainty. Odoacer, a Germanic general, leads his troops. Through deserted streets they march. No battle, only quiet surrender. Odoacer deposes the young emperor, sending regalia to Constantinople. Romulus Augustulus fades into obscurity, a footnote in history. The fall of Rome in 476 AD is often seen as a sudden collapse, but it was a slow, agonizing decline. By the time Odoacer's troops entered, Rome was a shadow of its former self, its spirit broken. The legions, once mighty, were now ragged and disorganized. Economic hardship replaced citizen soldiers with mercenaries, eroding loyalty. The fall of Rome was a death by 1,000 cuts, a lesson in the impermanence of power. The Western Roman Empire, though officially extinguished in 476 AD, did not simply vanish. Its legacy continued to shine, woven into the fabric of Western civilization. Rome's laws, language, art, and architecture shaped our world. Travel to Europe and you will encounter the ghosts of Rome. Ancient roads built by Roman engineers still crisscross the continent. Crumbling aqueducts still stand as monuments to Roman engineering prowess. Step inside a courtroom and you will hear echoes of Roman law. The concept of a codified legal system owes much to the Romans. Open a book, and you will encounter the influence of Roman literature. The Latin language lives on in the Romance languages spoken by millions. Rome's legacy endures, shaping the course of history. The fall of Rome is a story of adaptation and the enduring power of ideas. The story of Rome's rise and fall is a captivating epic of military triumph, political intrigue, and economic upheaval. Rome's journey reminds us, no empire is immune to history's forces. Overexpansion, economic instability, and political corruption topple empires. Rome's fall was a gradual unraveling, not a single event. Like a ship taking on water, Rome sank beneath its contradictions. As we examine the ruins of Rome, parallels to our time emerge. Economic inequality, political polarization, and erosion of trust resonate today. Rome's decline urges us to examine our societies critically. Economic inequality is a defining issue of our time. The gap between the haves and the have-nots fuels social unrest. The fall of Rome is a cautionary tale, but it is not a prophecy. History offers valuable lessons for those willing to heed its warnings. The fate of empires is shaped by choices of individuals and societies. By understanding Rome's decline, we can build resilient societies. Active citizenship and civic engagement are crucial. A healthy democracy relies on informed and engaged citizens. When citizens disengage, democracy erodes. Economic justice is essential for stability. Extreme inequality leads to instability. Investing in education, healthcare, and social safety nets is vital. Global cooperation is necessary to address shared challenges. Rome failed to adapt to a changing world. Our fates are intertwined in an interconnected world. The fall of Rome is a reminder that even mighty empires are not invincible. We have the power to learn from the past and build a better future. The question is whether we will heed history's warnings and create a more just, equitable, and sustainable world.